Samsung might be setting up the Galaxy S26 Ultra to look like the hero of 2026, but the twist is it's only happening because Samsung is deliberately holding the rest of the lineup back. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. And that decision could make the entire Galaxy S26 series one of the most disappointing flagship releases we've seen in years. Here's why that matters. The Galaxy S lineup has always worked as a family. Even if you didn't buy the Ultra, the base and Plus models usually felt like solid, well-rounded flagships, phones you could confidently recommend. But with the Galaxy S26 series, Samsung appears to be changing that balance. Instead of lifting the whole lineup, it's cutting down the regular models so the Ultra doesn't feel underwhelming by comparison. Let's start with what the Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus are actually getting. The list is shockingly short. The base Galaxy S26 is expected to get a slightly bigger 6.3-inch display, a new chip, a bump to 256 gigabytes as the starting storage, and a larger 4300 mAh battery. It'll also be a bit thinner and a bit heavier. That's basically it. No meaningful camera upgrades, no standout new features, nothing that screams next-generation flagship. The Plus model is even worse. Right now, the only real change being rumored is, you guessed it, a new chip. Maybe a tiny weight increase. And that's where the story ends. In a year where competitors are pushing aggressive camera upgrades, faster charging, smarter AI, and bold design changes, Samsung's regular S26 phones are barely moving at all. That's why the Galaxy S26 Ultra ends up looking like the obvious choice, not because it's revolutionary, but because everything else feels intentionally restrained. Compared to the base models, the Ultra actually does sound impressive. We're talking about better display materials, built-in screen privacy tech, a more powerful processor, faster wired and wireless charging, a slimmer body, upgraded camera hardware, and more advanced AI features. On paper, it's clearly the best phone in the lineup. But here's the problem. Even the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't a massive leap forward. Compared to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, the improvements seem incremental rather than transformative. And that's a big deal, because the S25 Ultra already wasn't a huge upgrade over its predecessor. So Samsung is stacking small upgrades on top of small upgrades and hoping the Ultra label does the heavy lifting. This strategy creates an awkward situation where Samsung's phones end up competing with each other instead of the market. The regular S26 models exist mostly to make the Ultra look better. And once you zoom out, the bigger picture gets even messier. By 2026, phones like the iPhone 18 Pro and other Android flagships are expected to push much harder in performance, AI, and hardware innovation. Against that backdrop, the Galaxy S26 Ultra may struggle to stand out. At that point, who is the S26 Ultra really for? Mostly people who are already locked into Samsung or the Android ecosystem and don't want to switch. And ironically, the underwhelming base models help push buyers toward the Ultra, reinforcing Samsung's own internal funnel rather than winning over new customers. What makes this situation more frustrating is that it didn't have to be this way. Reports suggest Samsung originally planned camera upgrades for the regular Galaxy S26 models, but pulled back due to cost constraints. And despite these cutbacks, the Galaxy S26 series is still expected to cost more than the Galaxy S25 lineup. That combination, fewer upgrades, higher prices, is exactly what has longtime fans worried. Well-known insider Ice Universe has even gone as far as saying Samsung has lost its way, prioritizing profit margins over meaningful improvements, and has called for a boycott. That's not something you hear often about a brand as established as Samsung, and it speaks to how disappointed some enthusiasts are becoming. Now, to be fair, this doesn't mean the Galaxy S26 phones will be bad. Far from it. The Galaxy S25 is already one of the best smartphones you can buy today, and even small upgrades on top of that will still result in excellent devices. On an absolute scale, the S26 series will outperform a lot of phones on the market. But relevance isn't about being good enough. In the ultra-competitive flagship space, it's about momentum, excitement, and leadership. If Samsung continues down this path of minimal changes and internal lineup manipulation, it risks falling behind brands that are actually pushing the category forward. So, should you sit this one out? If you already have a Galaxy S25, especially an Ultra, the answer might be yes. And if Samsung doesn't course-correct soon, the Galaxy S series could go from being the standard setter to just another safe, predictable option. And that's a much bigger problem than any single disappointing upgrade cycle. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.